Yeah, so now people can join. We are just waiting for the real host.
Open this on the Gin&Tonic show now. Hello, you old bastard. Good to see
Hi,
you, you asshole. Yes, sir.
people. Yeah, so now people can join. People can hear now us, and well, I just started because in the Gin and Tonic show, which Abu Molid started, didn't work to for the people to
The Gin&Tonic show do not work.
do not work. Well, it works because one at least could join, and this one is the original, more or less the original host, the last 4 years. Stop spamming is here, so it works.
But I'm the intelligent one, you see.
That I don't know. But Abba wanted to talk about the Birmingham stuff and Zana stuff, and I don't really know how much you can talk about it because, I mean, the Zana stuff, it is not public really. It is just,
Oh, some of it, yeah.
and you are very, very soft just for the,
My microphone. I need a microphone.
and
Hello?
the other thing is about the Birmingham stuff, I don't know anything, but I
Yeah,
know that this,
Birmingham is a hoax. I mean, Birmingham, this is just a bit of paper. This is the problem. Birmingham is such a hype because somebody said it dates to the time of the prophet, which is absolute bullshit. That's a lie. It doesn't. Number one, they dated the material to a range of somewhere between 630 and 700 or something. So this is when the papyrus was made.
it is somehow quite similar to the Voynich manuscript, if you know about that. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
No, it is a mysterious manuscript in a writing. Nobody has a clue what it is, and it has no real pattern to describe it, or things like that. But it shows pretty in a way it shows just plants and buildings from a time being, but the papyrus is older than this showed in his own. Somehow people interpret it like it is in a prophecy letter because it talks of buildings which are later built after the papyrus is made. So it's somehow similar. Just dating the papyrus doesn't mean anything because it could be written way later in the end.
Yeah, I remember now. I did hear about this.
I
Raven,
can't hear
Raven,
what.
Raven is saying, Todd tried it earlier, took me to an old video. No, 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 no. Try again now. Try again now. People are a little bit confused because I had the same problem that I tried it earlier and it took me to the old one by Rob, and now it's different. Yeah, and the problem is that I have a new headset, which I'm not using at the moment. So I think some of my parameters might have changed to the headset because this is a Bluetooth headset with the microphone.
So now we see the all talking Raven.
Okay, one, two,
Is
three. No, I'm very soft. You're right.
you are a little bit soft. That is. So, I
Configure.
just can push you here a little bit more.
Set up microphone. Or I will just use the Bluetooth. Bluetooth.
I mean, I can hear you. I don't think.
Have a microphone. Next, da 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 da.
Now it's very loud. Yes. I will make you a little bit softer. So now it should be okay.
Okay.
Yes, Abu, just try the whole link, or at least wait.
Somebody's voice is too low. Is it still low? No, it can't be anymore.
Now,
Now it should be
now,
big.
no, The invitation, it doesn't make anything different, Abu. It does just post you the link at all. So, but I mean, if you want, I can do that. It's not.
Yeah, but hang on, did you start this? No, you started this on Victor Huller.
Yeah, on a completely different channel, and the Hangout works. I mean, you wouldn't be here if it doesn't work.
Yeah, because I almost started one on the Jinn&Tonic channel. But then I saw somebody have, because I came there and there was nothing. And I thought, what the fuck's going on? And then I thought, okay, it was there 2 seconds ago, so let me start a new one, because I thought Abu was having problems with the hosting. And then I heard you saying, no, I'm back in full force. I'm going to now kill all Islam, single-handed.
What do you know about the Zana stuff?
That in 1972, the roof of a mosque collapsed after a heavy storm, and that some potato sacks fell down full of old documents. They didn't know what to do with them because they were wet and they were all clinging together. And somebody said, yeah, but this is old stuff. And then somebody said, this is bloody old stuff. We need some experts here who, number one, can separate the inks, the individual paper. Number two, can analyze what this actually is. So we need somebody who can speak ancient Arabic and read ancient Arabic and Aramaic and Syriac, and who can also go and identify what the text is all about. Now, they happen to know somebody at the University of Saarbrücken in Germany, a Professor Dr. Gerd Puyn. They contacted him, he put together a team, and then all 15 of them flew down to Yemen, to Sana'a, and they analyzed this. They managed to separate the pages using a process which has been established in non-Muslim countries, I suppose. And then they went and they sorted the papers, and they found out that some of these papers contain Quranic sentences. Then they found out that the sentences were actually very different from what we read in the Quran today. Then when they went and dug a little bit deeper and they used ultraviolet light, they found out that underneath the text that you could read was an older text. So what they did is they enhanced the text that was underneath, the so-called palimpsest, and they found that this was also Quranic sentences. These were also Quranic sentences, but they again were completely different, in a different order with totally different contents. So you have different stories in different versions of the Quran, all on these sets of papers. Now, it's by no means a complete Quran. It covers only a couple of passages, because obviously they were heavily damaged by the rain. But the ones that they managed to salvage, they took something like 33,000 photos. Now, unfortunately, when I think it was actually the Saudis, when they heard what was going on in Yemen, they quickly came down and they told the Yemen government, listen, get these people out of here. They're not allowed to investigate this. And Puyn and his team were sent back home. Now, they took the photos, but they were told that they were not allowed to divulge any of this information. So, as you quite correctly said, a lot of the information has not been made available to the public. A couple of things have leaked. So, for example, some photos with the old and the new, which they use in a different lecture, but then somebody put two and two together and they realized these were the old Sana'a documents. So we do have a couple of photos, we do have a couple of these old manuscripts, and we do have some information about it. And that's all I know about it.
But since then nothing new happened about the Zana stuff.
Not as far as I know.
Yeah.
Do you know what they actually contained that was different to the Quran we have today?
Well, like I said, there were sentences which resembled the Quran. Some sentences were from the Quran, and some sentences were completely different. So the thing is that there is not enough, there's no verifiable information on this. So all I have is the hearsay of others, because it has not been made public. There is no study, there is no, not even a book. There's nothing out there which says, this is the photo of the manuscript which resembles Quran chapter 15, sent us number 58, and this is what it says, and here's what the Quran, the 1924 Cairo version says. So that none of this exists.
When did they find it again? This other stuff. Which year?
As far as I remember, 1972.
97.
Because they went from 1972 to 1976 when they were sent home.
Well, but I mean, Gert Puin is interesting because he, like you said, it wasn't allowed to show anything of it, and maybe also in danger if you would show something like it, and the Saudis probably would know about this, but I think at this point he realized that he has to look about the origin of Islam, and he published many books about origins of Islam, etc. So he made there, I think, a leap, and not being so dogmatic about how the 1924 Quran describes Islam at all, I think.
Okay, one of the things that he says absolutely is that the Quran we have today is not the version that existed 1,000 years ago. So there's a lot of change. Number one in the language, number two the sentences, number three the content. So what he says is, if you compare the different versions, like what I've done in the video, in my textual criticism video, where I've shown photos of the Tashkent Quran and today's Quran, put them next to each other, and you immediately see that there are differences. And in one sentence in 37:101, I show that it says the opposite of today's Quran. So these are like normal mistakes, scribal errors. And this is exactly what Prince said and what he found out and what he documented and what he has written about in his books, that the Quran went through all the massaging and manipulation, everything that is common for all these texts. So it's very, very natural, nothing unusual.
Anyone who does actually want to look this up, look up the Sana manuscript, Sana Quran, or the Yemeni Quran.
What I find interesting is because Yemen is a little bit separated from Saudi in culturally terms, and also in the way of how they speak their Arabic. They had or still have their own Kaaba. I don't know if they still have it, but they once had their own Kaaba. So that I find very interesting. So I don't know if these writings they found relates to the how do I say it, to the version of probably or not relating, but just writing their own Quran in their own Kaaba, but still somehow using the same God in a way. I don't know if that's possible, but at one point they had their own Kaaba. That is known.
Yeah, but without the black stone. Abu, in case you're listening, can you go to Skype? Because I don't have a Skype address, otherwise I would have given them a link. You can go to live or you can go to hangout.link. Is it Hangout or Hangouts? No, Hangout.
Hangout.godless.ch.
And this is the link that you need, because it's actually his show today. We're just helping out. So I don't really know where he got lost or why Google doesn't like him today, that he cannot join here. Or if what you can always do, you can always go to Ike's channel, which is Weg zur Hölle. So it's WEGZURH. Oh shit! It's an O with two little dots on top. LLE.
No, I mean he was here in the chat just.
Oh really?
2 minutes ago. Or did you written for the Jinn&Tonic show? Was
no.
that your account?
There's the Jinn&Tonic show. No, so it's not Rob. Rob is not here today, right? So this should be Abu. Show. Can you invite my email? Can you invite my? Okay, I don't have his email. Dies ist ein Fehler. Sie haben Zeichen zu auf dieser Seite. Mehr Informationen. Oh, okay, Abu. In case you're listening, try taking the Hangout and deleting everything behind the question mark.
Oh, I also posted it once again, the short version here of the Hangout Google com link. More I can't do. I mean, it works. Stop Spamming could join, Raven could join. And what can I do more for you?
Are you saying that there's a problem with the dating process of the Birmingham Qur'an? No. Hang on. Okay, I need to explain this once again. If you use carbon dating, you cannot say that the atoms. Okay, what you are actually doing is you're counting the. I don't know if you know chemistry. If you take the rings around and okay, you have the center. Oh my God, you have a center of an atom and you have different values in the rings outside where the electrons go. Now, when you count that, you lose an electron every once so often. So this happens in the carbon atom. So if you use carbon dating, you actually count the carbon decay of the atoms. Now, this you can then count and say, okay, it should be, if I take today's standard, I should have, I don't know, 55,000, but I've only got 40,000 left. That means this must be 1,000 years old because you lose so and so many values per 1,000 years. And this is what chemists use in the dating process of carbon dating for anything that contains carbon. So you can only use it for certain kind of material. So you have different dating methods for different types of materials, because obviously not everything contains carbon. So you use different dating methods to date the material, and then you get to an approximate date with a range. Because you can't say this comes from the year 670 or something. It's always, there's a range between 630 and 710 or something. And this paper, this material on which the Birmingham sentences was written, or the manuscript, or the fragments that we have, well, it's just 2 pages or something, or 4, so I can't even remember how many pages this was. It means that the material on which a text was written was prepared in that time period. And that's all it says. So what Muslims are now doing is they're lying. They're saying, this is an old Quran which existed during the age of Muhammad. And that is not true. That is the problem. The problem is not in the dating. The problem is not in the range that they give. It's only that the material has been created or been prepared, or whatever you want to call it, in that time span. When it was written is a completely different story.
So Abu have joined. Now he
brilliant.
He
Abu, can you
clarify
this maybe?
I mean, I don't know what happened really. I haven't listened because I have had to mess with my computer. But now you're talking about the Birmingham Quran.
Yeah, because I saw on the chat that somebody says, "Well, am I saying that there's a problem with the Birmingham with the dating?" No, I'm not. I'm saying the claims around it I have a problem with.
What is the claim?
Oh,
like
sorry,
what?
this is
What claim?
From the time of Muhammad.
Yeah, I mean, if you can trust the carbon dating, which I'm not an expert on that, so I must admit.
Well, that was the point of Stop Spamming. I mean, the material is of, let's say, in the range of supposedly Muhammad's lifetime. But that doesn't mean that it was written in this time. That's the problem. Now we would have to look, is the writing, the style of writing, how it is writing, etc. Could it be in this time? That's more. I mean,
I just been started looking at the guy that there's a good video in Arabic where they interview the guy that found the Sana'a manuscript. But he only talked about Sana'a manuscript. But I think I can show it like I have to start all things all over again. So, but I think it is in Hijazi style, as far as I can see. I'm not an expert.
Do clarify this for the listener.
Hijazi style is like the oldest style, as far as I understand.
Well, okay, what that means is that you have a very rudimentary way of writing in Arabic.
Yeah,
Because what
maybe I
happened
can
is they
show.
took it from the Nabateans who developed this, but it's just a couple of, it's just bows and normally very, very horizontally oriented, and then some alifs, for example, some vertical, exactly, some things in between.
I can compare it to.
Here's my video. I made a video about this where I took
Can
exactly
you
this
see?
and then a 1400 and then a modern Arabic to show the differences.
Yeah,
That's what I'm supposed to do. So wait a minute, but they have an. I can cheat here. I don't know if you see this, but you can see
the
like
difference. That on the right-hand side there are no diacritical marks. There's nothing. All you have is just a couple of lines.
So there is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. You can see there. Taha, Taha. ما أنزلنا القرآن لتشقى. ما أنزلنا. Oh, sorry. ما أنزلنا عليك القرآن لتشقى. So you can see there's no. I think this is the Hijazi style. إلا تذكرة لما يخشى.
But can you read anything of the right thing?
Yeah, if I know, because I know Surah Taha.
Yeah, but
So,
if you wouldn't see the
okay, so you can
left
take,
side.
if I would not see this, then it could be, okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, this I can read.
Couldn't
Taha,
it mean,
this,
wait. Couldn't it mean anything else? I mean, it could. You know that.
Yeah, maybe, this could be maybe Tassama Allah, maybe. Tassama, yes, Allah, or something. Because, so it could mean something else. Taha doesn't mean anything. Ma anzalna alayka, but I can take a word that.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but still you could read it and still it would be right, the word itself.
Yeah.
That's the problem. People have to understand that what this doesn't mean, how the writings were developed over time with these points to make it distinguished in what one word means, what it means with points, etc.
Well, the points actually give you the only indication on how to pronounce it, because remember, there are no vowels. This is the point.
Well, sometimes there are. For example, in the beginning of Ma anzalna. So there, Ma anzalna, there is the long.
This is the
alif. There's a long alif.
Exactly.
So there you have a little bit, but
that's it. So anything like salam can mean asalami, because you don't know what the vowels are going to be. So this was only added like 400 years later.
Like even in modern texts, normally you don't write down the dots, because you know, if you read newspapers and things like that, they often don't read the dots, because most of the people know what it is.
The best example that I've ever heard was to defeat and be defeated is the same identical word. You have to have three little dots on top to distinguish between to be defeated and to defeat.
Yeah, yaghlab, yughlab, maybe. Yeah, that's true. That's a good example. Yaghlabuna is like defeat. They are defeating. Well, yughlabun is they are defeated. So.
So if you but like you said, if you don't make the points, etc., to distinguish the word, I mean,
then you can't distinguish between yughlab and yaghlab.
In this time we have right now in Iraq and Syria, if some guy named how was his name, al-Baghdadi, if it says to be defeated or to defeat, I mean, it's quite different.
That's usually there is like stories in like that. The funny example is in Surah At-Tawbah. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولُهُ. No, so if you read it, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولِهِ. So he, only the the last valve there, then it means, and Allah is take distance, or to say, is you make bara'ah to the pagans and his prophet. So he is bari, he is take distance from his prophet. So that is clear kufr. So, but when it should be وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولُهُ. So like, and God is make bara'ah to the mushrikeen and the messenger as well. You see the difference?
I think I understand it. Yes, it's very very
very
annoying.
huge difference. It's the opposite meaning. So it's only one little, and this is something that people. This is a mistake that they did in the early. This is the record. So there was some like some Bedu or something that
how,
went.
How do you know that is a mistake? Maybe God wanted, or maybe he had enough of this Muhammad and said, I will have a distance to you now. Go away.
How do you say that good word in English? Bari'un. Take
I don't know.
There's a Scandinavian.
Are you saying what in English?
Like if you distance yourself from someone, sorry, like say that someone is a Nazi or something, so you don't like his Nazism, then you distance yourself from his opinion. What's a good word for that in English?
I would say I reject his opinion.
No, yeah, but take distance from him.
Well, probably distanced. I mean, a lot of people in the English-speaking language, the English-speaking world would actually say, you know, I found out such and such was a Nazi, so I distanced myself from them.
Yeah. Maybe it is that. Maybe that's the best word to describe it.
Okay, but Abu, just a question. Is the text on the right, does it cover the same material as the one on the left? In other words, is the Quran on the right already in the same order?
Yes, this one is. So this is Surat Maryam, I think, and this is Surat Taha. This is Surat Maryam, this is Surat Taha. The end of Surat Maryam and the beginning of Taha.
Okay, what other information, did you spend some time on this?
No, the thing is I've been very busy, so it's just today that I had time to sit down with this. And
okay, do you remember how many fragments there are?
Yeah, there I can show you. I have a link here.
Because the way that I remember, this is just a very few like bits and pieces. So you can't really say this resembles today's Quran in any which way.
It's 4.
That's why I'm actually surprised that this one shows the same sequence.
But I started to read about what the revisionist said about the Sana'a manuscript. There's a very good link I can show you. And this is several hundred pages, so I just maybe read 20 pages, and I realized that this is a big topic, dude.
Oh, absolutely.
I can show you that. There it is. So here are the different pages. There's page 1. You can see. I think it's 4 pages. Yes.
But more interesting it would be in the case of the Birmingham stuff. Is there a page which is very different to the today's Quran, to say?
I mean, I haven't looked into this completely, but as far as I've looked, I think I read 2 pages, and it is actually similar. So we have nothing to say again. I haven't found any difference, at least. However, in what they have from the Sana'a manuscript is different.
Yeah, talk about it. It's your show.
Yeah. The thing is, I prepared all these like the windows, all the Windowses. And I have to start them all over again, and I have to find them. Yeah, but this was, I don't know if this is just, you can see طه ما أنزلنا القرآن لتشقى and all that thing. Maybe we should, there's a nice video when the guy that found the Sana'a manuscripts. Maybe I should show that. That is in Arabic, but he showed a very... Say something more about what did you say about Sana'a manuscript? Do you think it's you can't? What Stop Spamming had something to say about that? But because as I understand it, there are several pages from the Sana'a manuscript. Like what I understand from the Sana'a manuscript is that there are like one older version that they have kind of washed over or something, and that was in Hijazi older handwriting, or older khat.
It's a script. You have Hijazi, then you have the Kufic.
I don't remember if it was Kufi, but it was older Hijazi in the lower layer, so to speak. But there they could find the differences. I can show you them. Here's a very good video for those who know Arabic. I think he's here they make a good diagram. But here in this video he interviews the guy that found the...
but this is this Christian channel.
Yeah, I know it's Christian, but so here he like explains how old they are. So this is the oldest, the Sana'a, the Sana'a that is under the lower layer, so to speak, the older, before they washed over.
Yeah, but these are before Muhammad. This is like 6th century.
I think it's 7th century. He will show a good diagram soon. Here's a good diagram. 7th century. Wait a minute. So there is Sana'a. There is... I think that's Paris. Paris. There's some Paris manuscript. There is Birmingham. So this is where they think Birmingham. But I don't know really if you can trust these guys. This is Samarkand. This is Qahira.
Yeah, but none of these are complete Qurans. We need to understand.
Yeah, none of these are complete Qurans. But these are like all the earliest.
Yeah, but this, I mean, the Birmingham, like I said, this is just a couple of pages. These are fragments. This is not a book.
But the funny thing is,
Muslims make this look like this is an oldest Quran, and this is like
when Ike is here, can you? I can paste it in the chat. There's an interest, because the thing is that the standard narrative is that there is an Uthmanic Quran, that is kind of the standardized Uthmanic Quran that the Sahaba Uthman.
With a blood clot, with a blood drop.
Yeah. But the thing is, there is no such thing. There is no such thing. The Uthmani Quran that they claim to be from the time of Uthman, or the oldest are not like complete Qurans, and the later ones are not from that period. They are later.
The later ones are not from.
Yes.
That was a good sentence. But
where
you're
is
right,
this? I'm sorry, I completely messed up the... I think it's this one.
Yes, you did.
Can you say this is in German? If you can
That's
Don't
that
ask Ike.
Muslim turned Christian, right?
Like, can
Brother
you
something.
watch that video and just say to us what they are saying in that video? Because I think they're talking about Uthmanic Quran there. What were you saying, Raven?
I'll say that's that ex-Muslim turned Christian, right? Brother something.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a Christian. There's a Christian channel. I mean,
What's his name? Brother
Rashid or something. It's kind of funny channel to watch. I know they are Christians and so on, but sometimes they even a blind pigeon can find a grain sometimes, so to speak.
That was a good one. No, but they have some. I mean, it's always funny to me that the Christians can see the mistakes of the Muslims can see the mistakes of the Christians, and only the atheists can see the mistakes of both. But it's always funny to see how they rib each other.
Yeah, but I mean, he makes. I mean, I haven't watched the whole channel, but it's interesting when he interviews the guy. Here's the guy, by the way. So he speaks in Arabic, although it's kind of bad Arabic. But so I think that I couldn't find anything wrong with this interview. So it's kind of interesting when he's talking about that.
About this little small video you sent me here in the Hangout. I mean, what can I say? It's a little bit silly because they just show a big Quran, like 1 meter.
This is the Tashkent one, yeah.
And they are claiming, yes, this was one of the 6 copies of done by Ottoman himself, etc. So,
which were sent to the 6 major cities.
That is...
They don't know which ones. It's always the same thing. It's just like Ike says, this is just a piece of propaganda, okay? So this author is taking stuff from Muslims without checking it. They're just copying it. They're just bringing it out.
I mean, to be fair, this thing wasn't cheap. I am sure of this because it was probably in a time they just needed something like that, and it wasn't cheap. That I'm sure of, but it doesn't prove anything at all. That's the point.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're making it all emotional. This is the Quran. I had the experience of witnessing the opening of a Quran, which is so rare, which is over 1,000 years old, and like they. Come on, ask for evidence.
Yeah,
ask for
there's
facts. There's nothing there.
There's no scientific stuff in it. It is like Stop Spamming said. It is just emotional, and on this level they keep it, and they say over and over again, well, God, praise God, and God is so good, and the video is just 2.5 minutes, and still they claim stuff in this short time. It's a little bit silly.
Here is some...
the best is, I'm just listening to this. They're saying, and everybody is sure that this is one of the 6 copies. No, nobody is sure. It's just a claim.
But what is that Quran? What are they pointing to there? What's the Mus'haf there?
This is the old Tashkent version, the one which only goes from 1 to 42, and the one that I just said is in 37.101 says they were Muslims, when in the 1924 Cairo version says they were not Muslims. So it's not just a variant. It's not one of the readings, one of the 7 or one of the 10 or one of the 26 or whatever. No, this is actually an opposite meaning, an opposite, what do you call this, usage of words in this sentence.
But do they know, do real scientists know from what time that?
No, they're not allowed to.
Okay. They're not allowed to investigate it. This is what I so annoying with making research on this. Anyway, here's some example here is like the standard Mus'haf of Medina. Actually been there where they make that Quran in that factory.
You mean printed?
Yeah, where they print it. It's extremely nice facility. And
did Gabriel come himself to do this? Or?
No, they print it as it's a normal factory with.
What you are saying that this is a normal book, like a normal book?
Yeah, they printed as a normal book. King Fahd Complex. I've been there.
No holy stuff in it.
No, it's holy Qur'an. It's very holy. But I
The
mean,
ink,
it's very
the ink,
nice building. It's almost like you come to like
yeah, but
some.
the ink also didn't rain from heaven
No.
directly or something like
And
that.
arrange itself on the page.
It's in a normal factory, a normal page.
Abu,
Yeah.
do you know the story what happened in Kuwait?
No.
Oh shit. They printed 380,000 Qurans and then somebody spotted a mistake and they had to shred them because they really there was a mistake and nobody noticed. So Allah must have been off duty or he was busy doing something else. He did not watch the Qurans being printed. Gabriel wasn't there either, so it was wrong. So they had to go and they had to shred 380,000 Qurans.
Yeah, that's a good segue to this because here you can see differences between this standard Mus'haf we have today and the Sana'a Codex. So here you say here in Surah Al-Baqarah وَيَكُونُ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ. There's وَيَكُونُ الدِّينُ كُلُّهُ لِلَّهِ.
Okay, but these are not real differences. I would let
No.
this go through.
وَلَا تَحْلِقُوا رُؤُوسَكُمْ حَتَّى وَلَا تَحْلِقُوا حَتَّى and do not shave your heads until and do not shave.
Do not shave your pubic hair, yeah.
Yeah, فَمَنْ كَانَ but the thing is, the Quran is supposed to be the perfect word of God and everything.
Exactly.
So even
Depends where your standards are.
فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا فَإِنْ كَانَ أَحَدًا مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا.
But you don't have the stomach here?
What?
Because in the Quran you have the same sentence with a stomach. And one is buniha and one is bunihu. And one is the plural and one is the singular, but it's the same sentence. So what comes from their stomach and what comes from their stomachs. So this is a real grammatical error. Or in this thing where he talks about, and in the sight of God, Adam is like Jesus. He said he was and he is. Or be, no, he said be and he is, instead of saying be and he was. So there's a lot of mistakes like this.
Can you show me if you can show me the Arabic?
Yeah, just go to, okay, I don't know, is it 52? Wow, yes,
anyway, but
I don't remember the sentence where he says, Adam in the sight of the Lord was like Jesus. He was made from sand.
Okay, but can you show, if you can look up on Quran.com or something. Here's a funny min siyamin aw sadaqatin aw nusuk. So here is just min siyamin aw nusuk. So they have lost a word has been lost, or a word has been added. Sadaqatin was not there, so there's a complete new word. So when they're making salah and they're reading this, you know, if you make words that are not part of I mean, this can make their salah incomplete, because if they say a word that is not from that is a long fiqh thing, but
so they don't have to do charity anymore. That's the point.
No, but the important thing is that there's a word missing here. So what is correct? Is it min siyamin aw sadaqatin aw nusuk, or is just min siyamin aw nusuk? So when they, you know, you recite the Quran when you're praying, and I think, if I remember this correct, that if you're reciting something that is not from the Quran, it yubtil the salah, so it makes the salah it's not a real salah. You have to make the salah one more time. So if you start to talk or something. So this is a huge problem. Is it min siyamin aw sadaqatin aw nusuk, or is it just min siyamin aw nusuk? Is this the perfect word of God?
Okay, can you open a Quran?
No, but can't you show you on your screen?
359. 359 in Quranic.
I can open it on this.
Quranics. Okay, I'm entering it now. Quranic.
What was it? Quran 355.
359.
359.
3.15. Enter. And I need to include Arabic, yes. Okay.
Okay, I continue. بعمرته. This is also a difference that is interesting. The minor pilgrim, or the bil umrah means be the umrah. How do you say this in English? And this is bi umratihi and his umrah. So this is a difference in meaning. Bil umrati and bi umratihi is a difference in meaning.
Ike, help! Why can't I select a window to share?
I don't know. Abu is sharing now, maybe because of that.
Share an app, that's the best. Then you can show that.
I know why, because I am active in the same, just on a different tab. Okay, I need to close the tab.
مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون.
And what are you saying to us?
I'm sorry, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that is correct grammar. ثم قال خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. كن فيكون is become and it becomes.
Okay, can you see this from me now? Can you read the Arabic?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, I need to speak so that you can see it. Otherwise, you need to click on this before you can actually see this all the time.
Zoom in a little bit if you can.
But I think it's the same. No, but I see it. No, it's the same.
Can you read the
That's a different
part of the sentence?
Yeah, it's خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون, which means خلقه means he created him من تراب from like dirt or dust. ثم قال, and he said له, to him, kun, be, فيكون, so he was.
Okay, what I have written there, this is what I wrote in my book here. The translation should be and he is, which is a grammatical error, as yakun should be kana, was.
No. Kana is madi. It's like happen. If you say qala law kun fakana, I mean you can say that too, but I think it's more correct to say fayakun.
Because fayakunu in what I heard means he is.
No, he becomes in this very moment.
Exactly, which is not possible because it should be past.
خلق من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. Okay, no. This is hard to explain, but I don't see it. There's nothing grammatically wrong with it. خلقه. You know, in Arabic, you can make all this kind of stuff. You can, like, for example, when you're making dua, you can say like, you say قبح الله وجهه في النار ففعل. So like, I mean, may Allah make his face ugly in the hellfire. Do it. It's hard to explain, but there is nothing grammatically wrong with this.
Okay, then I'll have to correct this. I'll have to take this out because somebody who speaks Arabic said to me, no, this is a mistake. It should be kuna.
No, this is not a mistake. But I can find grammatically problematic thing. The only thing I can think of,
there's something with the stomach. I mean, this I'm 100% sure that it is wrong. because I made like
there are things. There's one thing in Surat An-Nisa, but I remember from the top of my head. I can look it up if you want.
Well, there's one in 4.3, which is absolutely wrong because 4.3 says marry, if you can't marry the righteous ones, marry in 2s or 3s or 4s. But that's not what it says. It says and 3 and 4. In other words, you're allowed to marry 9. And that's why there was a fatwa by this cleric on Al-Azhar who said Muslims are allowed to marry 9 women because it says it says wa, which is and. So this is in 4.3. There you definitely have a discrepancy.
I have to read through it. Maybe
no, you
next
just
week.
read 4.3. I mean, this is very straightforward.
3.3.
It says
no,
wa.
I was this
There's
thing
no
in what did I say? Was it 3.4.3?
4.3.
What is funny in the chat, Yusuf Al means there's nothing wrong with it because the meaning doesn't change in the end.
But it's the opposite.
But not only that, but the thing is, I mean, God writes itself. He doesn't allow to be changed by humans in any way. So.
And Rationalizer made a video exactly about this, where he bought for £3.50 a little dictation device and said, if I dictate onto this device, it will faithfully reproduce exactly what I say. So Allah is not even worth £3.50 because he makes mistakes in the recitation and the repetition of what he does.
I have to look this up to next week.
No, just you. Okay, open.
No, okay, I can read it 4.3. وإن خفتم ألا تقسطوا في اليتامى فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع فإن خفتم أن لا تعدلوا فواحدة أو ما ملكت أيمانكم ذلك أدنى ألا
So how many should you marry?
You should marry مثنى وثلاث ورباع. Like 2 or 3 or 4.
Where's or?
It's actually it's true. It's not مثنى أو ثلاثة أو رباع.
There's no aw. There's a wa.
Yeah, exactly. It's not oh, it's wa. It's true. But the thing is, you know the Shia, they actually make that. they add it up. So they say مثنى وثلاثة ورباع means 2 plus 3 plus 4.
Exactly. It's 9.
So yeah. But مثنى وثلاثة ورباع. It's a very ambiguous way to express yourself. But it would be easier if we said مثنى أو ثلاثة ورباع. Yeah, I don't know. I think this Allah guy needs a consultant. You have to be more clear when you speak to people.
No,
like Donald Trump, for example.
Spell checking.
What? Spell checking.
You need spell checking. I mean, how can you have one stomach and 2 stomachs in the same sentence?
Where is this 1 stomach and 2? What? Can you give me the number?
Jesus, I made a video about this years ago. Do you want me now to look this up? One is Buki.
No, you don't have to look it up. No, we can take it next week. Maybe we should continue. But it would be interesting, yes. That kind of stuff is funny, I think. Anyway. ما تفعلوا ما تعملوا. So there's 2 different words. تفعل or تعمل is not the same word. It's kind of the same meaning, but it's not the same word. That's في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة. So here it's just في الدنيا والآخرة. So they have skipped حسنة completely. So 2 word missing. أن يأتيهم الله أن يأتيكم الله. Oh, there is a huge difference. Ya'tiyahumullah means, and Allah come to them, and ya'tiyakumullah, Allah come to you. Baghyan baynahum. Oh, that is not written. فإخوانكم فأخوه. This is a very big difference. فإخوانكم means so your brothers. فأخوهم means for their brothers.
So suddenly they adapted them, or
I don't know. بإذنه ليس مكتوب أعرض عنهم. أعرض only. So turn away from them, turn away and. فلا تخشوا الناس فلا تخشوهم. So do not be afraid of the people and do not fear them. I think the translation was good. عليهم على.
still Yusuf al means still the meaning doesn't change, even if it does change, like you're demonstrating it.
What do you mean?
Do you see the examples I put in the chat?
Sorry. Halves 210. Okay, let me look. 210.
Yusuf, it would be very interesting if you could come in and telling us what you exactly mean, because if the meaning changes by humans later, also the meaning of the whole thing changes, so it doesn't stay the same.
Okay, so this verse 10 in Surah Al-Baqarah, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون. So في قلوبهم, in their hearts, مرض, disease, فزادهم الله مرضا, so Allah increased their sickness. What's the problem? ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون, and they have a painful punishment for what they were like not telling the truth or whatever. I don't understand. What's the problem? So this 3:146. Oh, 3:46. Wasn't that the one that I looked for? It takes time for this to load. So it takes a long time. What was that guy in the chat saying?
No, he says in general doesn't change the meaning of things. I mean, yes, if you take a whole book in just one word is slightly different, and
but the problem, even if, like, if, for example, that taf'alu wa ta'malu, I mean, it doesn't really change. I mean, taf'al wa ta'mal is not exactly the same word, but it's kind of synonym. But I mean, even if it's not exact same word, if the Quran is the perfect word of God, if you change the word, even if it's roughly the same meaning, it's still a huge problem.
Okay. He doesn't
look at the chat. I put in the chat, what is the difference between katala and katila?
Okay. وكأي من نبي قاتل معه ربيون كثير فما وهنوا لما أصابهم في سبيل الله وما ضاعوا وما كسبوا. قاتل is like fighting, like in battle, and قتل is you're murdering someone.
Okay, is that
but
different?
Here is قاتل. وكأي من نبي قاتل معه. And how many of the prophets was fighting with him, or was the Rabbi, like Rabbiyuna, do you translate that? Religious scholars, yeah, maybe. I think it comes from Jewish. So like religious scholars were fighting with the Prophet. What's the problem?
In what?
قاتل معه ربيون كثير ما وهنوا لما أصابهم. I don't understand.
To be killed or to kill. In
That
general,
means
I think.
no. قاتل is not the same as قتل. قاتل means you're fighting like in a battle.
This is the point. These are two different versions in different sentences. So the one uses this and the other one uses that. So which one is it? Like in the
I mean, it's a difference in different qira'ats or something like that.
okay, look where I write. So let's look at Surah 37, 101 first. Okay, so in the Uthman edition, and they did not submit, i.e., did not become Muslims. Now, in the Cairo version today, it says, so when they had both submitted their wills to Allah, which is the opposite. And then I show the differences in Arabic.
Ah, you mean there's difference between today's
1924 version and the Tashkent version, which is the opposite. It's saying
yeah, that
opposite.
is a huge difference. This is like the things that we show here. But if you can find those things and you can find the Arabic in both of them, that would be a treasure. Then we can.
I have them on a video. I show both of them in the form of a photo.
Oh, okay. You have that video.
Yes.
Can you find that video and post
Yes,
it?
it's called Textual Variants of the Quran in my textual criticism video.
Okay, can you post that in the chat? It would be very interesting. I'm sorry that I'm making this. You don't have to do it now. You can take it to another show if you want. But this is very interesting. لا تخشى الناس عليه ما أنزل الله ما أوحى الله. Here again, there are sent down is true. ما أنزل الله, that's meaning sending down. أوحى is like revealing maybe. أوحى. Let me translate that. Anyway, yeah, so we should jump to the next thing here.
Oh, good. I've been waiting to put in.
Say something, Raven. You say something while I'm searching.
Yeah. Oh crap! Where's the name gone? I was looking at a very specific person. I can't find exactly what. I can't find that page I was looking at now. But as just talking about the Birmingham Qur'an, and it's not the oldest, is it? I think there are actually some older parts of the Qur'an in Paris that predate the Birmingham one.
As I showed this one, this
But
Christian
anyway,
video, like according to this Christian video, I can show this diagram one more time. The oldest is the backs, like the Sana'a that is under the undertext is the oldest. I can find it in one plan. Wait a minute. You can talk. I find it.
Is anyone familiar with the name Elba Fedili?
What was that?
I may be pronouncing it wrong, so I'll just pop it in the chat.
Never heard of it.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Alba Fideli.
I don't know if anyone's familiar with her, but I was sort of passingly familiar with her when this whole Birmingham Qur'an manuscript first hit the public. She's one of the people that works in the Birmingham Museum or the university, and she's very well learned. Like her fields are Qur'an and things like that. And one of the things I remember, and I've just looked this up, refresh my memory, Like back in 2013, her study, Quran fragments in the Mingara collection, examined a number of early Quran fragments from this collection, and she pointed out examples of textual amendments in early Quran manuscripts that suggest a rewriting of text to conform to later canonical versions of the text. And she devoted particular attention to a part of the Quran in a Christian Arabic manuscript published by, I think, what was it called? The Alphonse Mingada and Angie Smith Lewis in Leaves from Pre-Ancient Qurans. And she suggested that given the evidence of this manuscript, the link between early Islam and Arab Christianity needs further attention in the academy. Now, interestingly enough, a current scholarly debate on history of the Quran by Gabriel Said Reynolds presented the current discussions among scholars about the date of Quran manuscripts, such as the manuscript described by Abba Fideli. Again, no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. And that he noted the reflex among many scholars to assume the truth of medieval Muslim traditions about the development of the Quran, and then to measure the manuscripts against the Muslim tradition. For example, he highlighted the articles of certain people on such manuscripts as the Yemeni manuscript. And there was a lot of information from 2013 which changed in the coming years. For instance, what they were saying changed the year after. And then in 2013, this Abdullah Filiast did this, did again this early Quranic manuscripts and their text. And the very interesting thing is that this accepted version of her work had actually been restricted to staff only until the 7th of May 2017. I don't know why, and it was very, very, very interesting to me. There was such a fanfare, and there was such a lack of one of the most qualified people in this area actually giving their opinion on it. And it just highlighted again, you know, the university has hidden this woman's research to staff only. You cannot access the PDF until years later, years being now, you know, 7th of May 2017. But an abstract from this hidden PDF says, the special collections of the Canterbury Research Library at the University of Birmingham hold 7 early Quranic pieces on parchment and papyrus dating from the 7th century. Alphonsine Megana purchased them from the antiquarian dealer von Scherling in 1936. Through investigation of the private correspondence of Megana and archival documents, this research provides new information, keyword new information about the origin and history of the fragments, whose reception has been influenced by the European cultural context at the beginning of the 20th century, in contrast with the public image proposed in catalogues, official documents, and previous studies. Furthermore, this research is an attempt to initiate an alternative perspective in analyzing and editing the physical objects and texts of early Quranic manuscripts by implying digital theology and philology, thus using XML encoded expressions, I have no idea what that is, to transcribe all of the richness of manuscripts and reconstructing the history of their transmission. This perspective interprets the process of the making of the manuscript text and the context in which the manuscript was written, thus editing its mobile and multi-layered text differently from previous examples of the edition of early Quranic manuscripts. So is anyone else curious about the fact that this woman was never really given a spotlight and that this PhD has been literally hidden for a number of years? Is that ringing alarm bells for anyone else?
Which country was this?
UK.
UK. But what was it? What was the thing that she found?
We don't know. She's hidden. What I'm saying is, this is one of the people who actually works in Birmingham. She's an expert on the Qur'an and theology and shit like that. She was given almost zero publicity. Actually know who she is. And as I said, the only reason I'm even familiar with her and even thought to look is because I'd passingly heard her name about a year and a half before.
I mean, this is the thing.
And
Birmingham.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, until the 7th of May, when this becomes public. Obviously, it's just speculation until then. But I just find it interesting that there seems to be
same situation like with Christoph Luxemburg. He's just would get death threats. And maybe something has to do with this. So you have to hide in a way and to be in cover, etc. I couldn't imagine at least that.
Do you know her name or do anything? Because this is the thing, like Birmingham.
Well, I put her name just into there. Look, ALBA space FEDELI.
Alba Fedeli.
Oh, I did get it right. Fedeli. Alba Fedeli.
Because if there's anyone that lives in Birmingham, or I mean, maybe you can contact her or go to the university or something. It isn't that hard if someone has time. Because these kind of things are interesting. Then we can have a scope. Do you call it that?
Well, I mean, like I said, the thing to realize, of course, is that if I'd have mentioned this when it first happened, we would have had to wait years to find out what was being hidden away. But we've only got to wait till May now, and then we can find out.
Okay.
What it was.
Because really, sometimes people are always sitting and waiting that everybody else should do something. But if there is this lady and she don't dare to say anything, maybe you can go there with a camera, take photos on this manuscript, and then citizen science guys can.
I don't know how it is in the UK, but in Switzerland, I've tried to contact academics and teachers and professors, and they just don't want to talk with small little people. At least here in Switzerland.
You have to do it in I don't know in Switzerland, but here. In Scandinavia, you can do that. Most of them are nice people. Anyway,
I'm just sort of imagining Ike trying to contact someone, and then a Swiss professor, a peasant, elite.
Really, I sometimes feel like this in Switzerland. So I stopped with the whole notion to go to the university at all to visit. Lectures, public lectures. I mean, because they don't really seem to be very academic, but just to push their career. If it's possible to push the career, they take the chance. If it doesn't help, why should they bother and take time for it, etc.
You shouldn't give up. You should. I think it's better to be positive and try and.
Yeah, but I've had mixed as well. I've had some people who were like really supportive and were accommodating, and you can easily talk to them, like Professor Hoodboy. I mean, everybody knows him, and yet he made himself available for many hours for me. And then you have or Professor P.Z. Mayers, he was available. Others. And they say, no, not really, I'm too busy, or they don't even bother writing back if it doesn't interest them. So yeah, it's a mixed
bunch. But if you go, say that you live in Birmingham and you know the office of this lady, then you can go to the reception, you could I just talk 5 minutes with this lady?
Absolutely.
Then
it helps if you're a local, absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, according to the Christian, here's the Sana'a, the oldest, the back writing here. And this is the Paris document. And this is Birmingham. And this is the older or the newer Sana'a. And this, I think, Brittany, some British stuff, and this I think is Qahira. Wait a minute, I can look at the early. I was looking here at early Quranic manuscripts. This is from Wikipedia. In Muslim tradition, the text of the Quran is traditionally said to have been edited into its extant form during the reign of the third Caliph Uthman, 644 to 656. A number of Quranic manuscripts dating to the 7th and 8th centuries are known. Hijazi manuscripts, Sana'a manuscript. The Sana'a manuscript is one of the oldest Quranic manuscripts in existence. It was found along with many other Quranic and non-Quranic fragments in Yemen in 1972 during the restoration of the Great Mosque in Sana'a. The manuscript is written on parchment. How do you pronounce that? Parchment? Is that correct? Parchment. And comprises 2 layers of text. See palimpsest. The upper text conforms to the standard Uthmanic Qur'an, whereas the lower text contains many variants to the standard text. An edition of the lower text was published in 2012. A radiocarbon analysis has dated the parchment containing the lower text to before 671 AD with 99% accuracy. This is the Paris, Codex Parisino Petropolitanus. I don't know why they have a Latin name. So the so-called Codex Parisino Petropolitanus is possibly the oldest extant Quranic manuscript. It is preserved in various fragments, the largest part of which are kept in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France as BNF Arab 328 AB. 46 leaves are held at the National Library of Russia, one of each in the Vatican Library and in the Khalili collection. An additional 2 leaves were discovered in 2015 at the University of Birmingham. So the Birmingham is part of it. The manuscript is the only one, or maybe it's another thing. Maybe sorry. The Birmingham is maybe it was just discovered in, but it should be that one. Anyway, the manuscript is the only one that can credibly be dated to the mid-7th century, which is consistent with the date of Uthman's edition. BNF Arab C and Birmingham fragment. BNF Arab 328C has 16 leaves, with 2 additional leaves discovered in Birmingham. Mingana 1572A bound with an unrelated Quranic manuscript in 2015. This manuscript may date to the mid-7th century. The parchment of the Birmingham fragment has been carbon dated to between 568 and 645 with a confidence of 97.2%.
And if I remember right, I think the 2 leaves actually came from the same codex as a manuscript came in Paris. What was it? The Bible, the Bibliothèque Nationale de France.
Yeah,
something like that.
I haven't looked into exactly that story. But I mean, why did they just? How could they suddenly discover this in Birmingham? I mean, didn't they? What's the story behind that? Yeah, but no, but I mean, where did they find it? Was it like?
Well, it could be in another book or just as letters put in the book, and this book was long forgotten, had something to do with Arabic literature or something like that. I mean, books and can be forgotten, and then people don't look for centuries into it, and they don't look it as necessary or as important, and then it can go for forgotten. So And
it's true.
maybe later some student or some other teacher thinks I have to look about Arabic literal, and then they find some pages.
Yeah, that can happen. It's true. It was fun. But what did Raven say? Was it part of the French? What did you say, Raven?
I actually looked it up. I'm actually gonna copy and paste this because I've no idea how to pronounce that. I don't know if it's Biblio something or Bible something. The Bibliothèque. I don't know how to say that last word.
In Paris.
Bibliothèque nationale de France.
Bibliothèque.
Bibliothèque nationale de France.
Just try it.
Is that Bibliothèque?
Are squeezed by another French man, and then you can say bibliothèque.
I've just had an image of some French person getting his testicles squeezed and screaming that.
Yeah, that's bibliothèque. You
would that be like with the Frenchie being pronounced with more as an or and the QE on the end? Wouldn't it be more like bibliothèque? Or I just have no idea how to say that first word.
No, that this is
something at the National de France in Paris. Oh, if anyone watching at any time, whether we're watching now live or at some point after this is posted, if you want to look it up, Bibliotheque. So Bibliothèque at the National de France in Paris.
Okay, good.
It just means the National Library. So
I know. What is it? Is it like Bible study? Like
no,
like
it's
some biblical study at the
library.
Okay. Enough. Anyway, Birmingham fragment has 16 leaves with 2 additional leaves.
I want to him stop spamming. Try and pronounce that.
Bibliothèque nationale de France.
Show off.
Has 16
show off. What can I do? I speak French. So what?
With 2 additional leaves discovered in Birmingham.
You have to excuse stop spamming because he's Ruski.
No, Polski.
So you speak English, French, German. What else do you speak?
No, that's enough.
It's more than I speak.
South African.
No, that's Afrikaans. Ik praat die taal. That is the Afrikaans. Actually, I can communicate with the Dutch, but I'm much better with the Flemish because apparently the old Dutch, the Flemish, is the same or very similar to the Afrikaans that we speak.
Flemish.
Yeah. Because we have the double defining. This I don't speak this not.
Okay, Abu, go back to your.
Go back to Birmingham, exactly. Listen,
Birmingham.
Ike, what you can do is go forward until you see the 2 comparisons in Arabic, and then Abu can read both of them and see the difference in Arabic.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Anyway, I can continue meanwhile. Was part of the lot of pages from the store of Quranic manuscripts at the mosque of Amr ibn As in Fustat, bought by French Orientalist Jean-Louis Assenet de Chevreuse when he served as vice consul in Cairo during during 1806 and 1816. The 16 folio in Paris contained the text Surah 10, you can do 10, 35, 11, 95, 20, 99, 23, 11. The Birmingham folio covered part of the lacuna in the Paris portion, with parts of the text of Surah 18, 19, and 20. The text is laid out in the format that was to become standard for complete Quran text, with chapter divisions indicated by linear decoration, and verse endings by intertextual clustered dots.
Now, this is absolute bullshit. I mean, this is such a lie. It's unbelievable. No, they're not. It's it doesn't resemble today's Quran at all. Oh, goodness.
Well, I mean, like, it doesn't resemble. But wait a minute. The Quran, the Birmingham Quran, as I showed you, except for the dots, at least in Surah Taha, at least in Surah Taha, it seemed to be quite consistent.
Okay, look at the numbers.
No, they're showing many numbers. I haven't investigated everything, but I remember that I did this sometimes, and at least there were 2 of them were consistent with today's Quran, except for the dots and everything. But what's your claim?
The claim is that the numbering doesn't match. The whole format is completely different. You don't know where one ends and the other one starts. The sentences just flow into each other.
Yeah, also, quick question. My knowledge of Arabic is basically non-existent, but you said that it's pretty much the same apart from the dots. If you don't have those dots, like, don't dots on Arabic words like completely change the meaning? Like, if there's a dot here or a dot there, or there's no dot. Then,
yeah,
like, in
it's
English,
true, but even in like when I read or write, I normally don't write down all the dots because it takes a long time. It's about, like, say you say London, but you just type LNDN.
So what, you're saying that it's basically just shorthand?
It's just Indian.
So you're saying that these parts of the Quran are written in shorthand?
Yeah. Like Vigso Kulle typed LNDN. So it can be Lanidan or Lunidun or something like that, or London. But the thing is, if you know Arabic, you know what it's going to be. You see what I'm saying? And it's the same thing in Hebrew, actually.
I wrote the first chapter, the 7 sentences, in the way that the Quran writes them. I just need to find this. You cannot recognize this at all. I just need to find it.
Abu, I'm not sure if you really could, because I mean today you could, because you are told what it should mean. you have like something in your head programmed what it should have.
The problem is just only when you have words that. Well, actually, it's a little bit more complicated than just Lunidan or something like that, because as we showed, like, for example, remember this some minutes ago, we were talking about qatala and qatala. So there in Quran, in real today's Arabic, you would put an alif after qaf, but in Quranic Arabic you don't put even an alif there. So it's possible that it's both qatala ma rabbaniyuna, or whatever it was, or qatala. You see what I'm saying? So it's even a little bit more complicated than the London example. Understand?
Nobody understands you.
Like in modern Arabic, when you make this long sound, or a long sound, or a long sound, you put an actually in old Quran, it's the sound is still there. There you put a okay, but the sound and the sound is can sometimes wait a minute. No, it's only that. It's only the sound.
Very lucrative careers writing scripts for porn movies.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's actually only the sound. Sorry. So sometimes they it's like in samawat. If you have memorized Quran, maybe. No.
Depends on which one you're.
No, not samawat. I will give an example. But this qatala, it's a good example. In the Quran text, this qatala, it's written exactly as qatala. It's just you have this little fake alif in the middle.
Would that be the equivalent of silent letters in English? Like if a knight of the realm, would that be like KN, but you don't pronounce the K, so it's just knight, not knight?
I don't understand.
Knight.
Is it the Arabic equivalent of a silent letter?
Fights. The knight, and the other one is the night dark. Wait, I write.
So I said, is it the Arabic equivalent of a silent letter?
It sounds the same, but it is not the same.
Silent letter is there is a dot for that.
So it's not the equivalent of a silent letter then.
But no, Abu, there was no dot at the beginning.
No, not at the beginning, no.
And the dot is used to emphasize. In other words, you have the h and the ch. Those are two. It's the H, but it's got a dot underneath.
Yeah. Ha and kha.
Exactly.
Can be, but it was not that dot I meant. I meant the dot for
sorry.
like when it's a silent, like ماذا تفعل.
In Farsi, you have the same thing. Like you have ghanat. It's the GH that you don't really pronounce, but it becomes ghanat at the back of the
Now I
throat.
close that page. I can take here, for example. Here you can see an example, for example. Oh, you don't see that, sorry. Like here you can see, even in modern Arabic, you're not writing down the dots or anything. So here, for example, makhtutat, there's the dot over kha, but there's also, if you would write down the what you call it, diacritical marks. What do you call it?
Diacritical.
Diacritical marks. So here there should be like a small O over this dot because it's silent. Makhtutat. Tartib aqtam makhtutat al-Qur'an. Anyway, so even in modern Arabic, you don't write down those dots. But these dots, you can see here, that dot over the kha was not there as you saw in the Birmingham manuscript or the early Sana'a manuscript. And over the ta here, those dots are not there. So, and over the qaf here, there's no dots there. Over the noon, qaf, and so these dots were not even there. It's not even those dots were there. So it's more complicated than to say it was just lanada or lumidan or something like that. So yeah, we simply have to, when Muslims say that the Quran has been preserved, you have to trust that the oral tradition has preserved some of the things.
Well, no, but don't even say that though, don't do they? I mean, I think it's in what hadiths? I think it's either Muslim or Dawood. I think it's Dawood, which talks about how a number of the followers who actually did and memorized certain portions of the Quran had been killed, so certain points had been lost, just like other parts had been lost because they were eaten by goats or whatever.
No, I don't remember exactly when they were. I mean, I remember that they were afraid that the Quran would be lost because people died in battle, and therefore Abu Bakr kind of gathered people to write it down. But I don't remember those hadiths from the top of my head.
Okay, I found the sequence now. Can you?
Yes.
Here you have the two versions where you can see very clearly the alifs. I mean, the vertical lines. You have two on top and you have three at the bottom. So you can see that it's absolutely different. And
now I see what you're saying. Yeah. This is a very good example. Okay, so I don't know. Can you see? No, you can't see that.
Okay.
Can you point with your pointer on this?
Okay,
See it
here,
high.
do you see this gap here? Can you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
my pointer?
Yeah. Can you point to the wa? If you start with the wa.
Okay, here in front, this little,
This is a wa.
this is a wa, this is
So
the
you go down.
and. So the
This is
and
the-
here is a little bit different, but you can recognize it as an and. It's the same principle of the
No.
and.
Wa is
It's like
there is
number 9.
fair. Can I? Okay, so can you just point to it one more time?
This.
Yes. There is a wa. Oh no, maybe not. Can anyone see this now? Because when I am
No,
talking,
you need to click on the text that you need to click on my symbol, on my logo, to make it visible all the time.
is it visible now?
It is visible for the YouTuber who are listening.
Okay, bro. Okay, good. So, good. So there is wa, and under it's fair. So it's two different things. Well, there is wama is there, and under it's falamma, which is wama, and how do you say? And it was not falamma, and meanwhile, so meanwhile, and this lam here, I don't know what that means. Falamma la salama, or something like that. And when they did not submit, exactly. And when they did not submit, and here under in the standard today is falamma aslama. So when they submitted.
So here it's not, and here it is, which is the opposite.
Wama, if I don't know what they mean by this lam there. Wama la salama. Oh no! You know what? This could be balagha. It could be actually, but can you? I want to see the real thing. Wama la salama could be like balagha, and they did not. And they did not submit. It's hard to translate to English, but this could be a kind of poetic way to express yourself. Balagha. Falamma aslama means, and so meanwhile when they were submitting.
Exactly. So these are two different versions, and the top one is from the Tashkent version, and the bottom one is what you read today. So they say
if this is correct, this is a completely different meaning. It would be interesting to see the photo of that page.
This is a photo of that page.
In the background.
This is no. This is a sequence. Hang on, let me see if I will carry on. I will give you the reference.
Okay, I talk about this. Kufic manuscript. For a long time, the Topkapi manuscript and the Samarkand Kufi Qur'an were considered the oldest Qur'an copies in existence. Both codices are more or less complete. They are written in the Kufi script. It can generally be dated from the late 8th century depending on the extent of development in the character of the script in each case. Topkapi, I wonder when that. Topkapi. The Topkapi manuscript is an early manuscript of the Quran dated to the early 8th century. This manuscript is kept in the Topkapı Palace Museum, Istanbul, Turkey. It was wrongly attributed to Uthman ibn Affan. Yes, wrongly attributed. That was the German video we heard before. Exactly. But judging from its illumination, the Topkapi manuscript does not date from the period mid-7th century, when the copies of the Caliph Uthman were written, if they were written at all. We don't know. Tübingen fragment. Yeah. In November 2014, the University of Tübingen in Germany announced that a partial Kufic manuscript in their possession had been carbon dated with a confidence of 95% to between 649 and 675. The manuscript consists of the Quranic verse 736 to 1757 and part of verse 1735. The Samarkand Kufic manuscript Qur'an, preserved at Tashkent, is a Kufic manuscript in Uzbek tradition, identified as one of the Ottoman's manuscript, but dated to the 8th or 9th century by both paleographic studies and carbon dating of the Perkament. Radiocarbon dating showed a 95.4 probability of a date between 795 and 855, which is a bit older than when Uthman allegedly was caliph, which was 645 to 656. Gilricht's dating of any Kufic manuscript to the later 8th century has been criticized by other scholars who have cited many early instances of early Kufic and pre-Kufic inscriptions. The most important of these are the Quranic inscriptions in the Kufic script from the founding of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, 692. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is not... The most important of these are Quranic inscriptions of Kufic script from the founding of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem. So this is inscriptions of the Dome of the Rock. Inscriptions...
Yeah, the Dome in the Rock is not a Quran sentence. This is the funny thing. It was replaced with one, but the original one was not. This is what most people don't understand. A lot of Muslims claim that the Dome of the Rock was built with a Quran sentence in it. It was not.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's why in the text, in the official text, you see it's a Quranic sentence.
But when was that inscription made?
I forgot. I knew this. I think it was 1920 something, but I can't remember the exact date.
Inscriptions on rock, Hijazi, and early Kufic script may date as early as 646. What? Inscriptions on rock, Hijazi, and early Kufic script may date as early as 646.
Can you scroll down a bit?
Yeah, I was looking at the other screen.
Oh, I thought you were reading from here.
Yeah, I started.
And you see, exactly, that there are Quranic inscriptions, not Quran inscriptions, which means chapter 4, sentence number 25. No, they are resembling the Quran because you cannot do anything the surah like it. Remember the challenge? You cannot bring anything like it except this one is. And the funny thing is, you know, people always argue with you. They say, well, during Muhammad's days, and he flew with the Burak to Jerusalem, and this was the Dome of the Rock, and actually it's the Aqsa, but Aqsa was built 30 years later, and you know, it's atrocious how little Muslims know about their own history.
Also, just pointing this out for viewers, if anyone wants to see a collection of surahs like it, look up the Wahi project on CEMB. Some real gems in there.
Wow.
Wahi, W-A-H-H-Y, the Wahi project.
Oh, not wacky, but Wahi. Okay. So I think I made about 3 videos on this, showing how dishonest this is.
Abu, are you there? I have a question. I have a question for you. Is Abu alive?
No, he put in the chat, I come back soon. He'll be right back.
He'll be right back.
So he's getting himself another beer.
Because I have some little thing in Surah 482. It is, wait, let me see the English translation here. Why do they study the Quran carefully? If it were from other than God, they would have found in it numerous contradictions.
Discrepancies, yeah.
And if you take every diacritical point away and every special thing after the 7th century, the contradictions could be read as olive oil. And I wanted to ask Abu if he could confirm that in his knowledge he has, or if it's
What
new
word?
to him. Contradictions.
The word contradictions in Arabic can be read as olive oil.
Yes, because if you take every diacritical point, every special
if you
thing,
remove everything,
it could be a total different word. Wait, what was the Arabic? Contradiction would be more or less riba, and olive oil would be zaitar. Or zaitar.
Yeah, because it's sidra, of course. Yes. I know sidra is the apple juice, is the fermented apple juice.
Because in the book I have, there was a story of one student wrote down the Quran, and he didn't know what the original was, what it would mean, and so he wrote down. And you would not find any contradiction in it, but instead he wrote, you would find any olive oil in it.
Which is true.
Which, of course, like I said before, if you learn this, how it should be today, and how theologians want it to be today, maybe very early the people didn't know anything about it and wrote anything in it. So it could be that contradictions became olive oil.
I'm just trying to read now, go back in the chat, who it was who said that there are no contradictions, but it seems that he left.
That was the Yusuf Al or something like that. It was Yusuf Al. No, he didn't say.
I think he was saying there was no contradictions, and then he was denying that any contradictions would matter because it's story itself which matters, not whether this word or that full stop or that comma was written.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, he just wrote here, carbon dating is not reliable. So if carbon dating is not reliable, then why make the claim that this is an old Quran? I don't know. You know, this is a contradiction in itself. So you can't have, on the one hand, saying, well, this is very old because carbon dating proves it. No, it's older than that because carbon dating is unreliable.
Well, you don't just use carbon dating; you use radiology and a number of other things.
Exactly.
But carbon dating is reliable, but it's reliable to a certain point. It's like, remember that old joke about? I don't know if you ever heard it. Have you ever heard a joke about an old man in a museum that told you how old the universe was?
No.
So there's an old man wandering through a museum, and someone says to themselves, "Wow, I wonder how old the universe is." And the old man replies, "It's 4 billion years, 6 months, 12 hours, 37 minutes, and 42 seconds old." And he says, "Oh my God, how do you know it's exactly that, right to the date?" Well, because I was told, 6 months, however long it was, but it was 14 billion years old. So it started at 14 billion and then counted it every day since.
Yeah.
But it's not like
this could be
when people say 14 billion, we don't mean it's exactly 14 billion, and now it's like 14 billion 1 seconds, 14 billion 2 seconds. Yeah. It's like it's a rough estimate that is accurate. I mean, if you actually think of carbon dating of the Quran, wouldn't it be accurate to 50 years? If I carbon dated something to
I think it's 95%.
it could be anywhere between. It could have actually been written anywhere between 1950 and 1875.
Exactly. I think it's 95% within 6 decades.
Hmm. Is that 6 decades both ways?
No, absolutely. Within 6 decades, from 2, with a reliability of 95%. So if the further you go away from this, if you go down to 80%, for example, now you're already plus minus 8 decades. So it depends on what your reliability target is.
So Abu, you're back, it seems.
Yeah, I was looking at this. I actually could find this Alba Fideli. Her you can download as a PDF her thesis.
Yeah, but I would be more interesting in my case. I just brought up.
What did you bring up?
In the early Arabic alphabet, if you can say it, an alphabet, many characters and letters would have mean different things in general. So I'm reading here like there are 15 letters or characters to say, and 7 of them had two meanings, or could be two things. No, 7 are one meaning, 6 are two meanings, and one was even 3 meanings, and the last one was even had 5 meanings.
Yeah,
So
I can show you here like why that is the case. Here you can see this is from the Birmingham manuscript.
Yeah, but let me finish. And
Okay.
if you have like a student who has no idea what he has to copy because it is early Arabic, he has no diacritical points still developed, etc. And all of a sudden he makes of in Surah 482 instead of a raiba, meaning contradictions or something like that, he changes to saita, because the characters could be have many meanings.
Yeah.
You
if you want me to explain.
Can you imagine this particular word at least, raiba and saita, that you could.
What word?
Wait, I'm writing in the chat. Raiba or saita.
Reba.
No, I think you will have to write it in Arabic to see the difference, to see the ambiguity.
Yeah, I can't read it.
Yeah.
If you can, is it riba? Raiba.
I mean, you can write it yourself without diacritical points and test it just on a paper.
Yeah, you can. Maybe it's rajiba, but I don't know what that means. Zaita. I don't know.
Olive oil. What is olive oil?
Zait. Zait is olive. Yeah. Not
and the other is contradiction, or what would be a better word?
Raib. La raiba fihi, for example. La raib. La raiba fihi. Okay. Yeah.
Question.
Raib. Yeah. Okay. So the word raib, that could be that could be many things. That could be like if you don't have any dots at all, that could be. So we changed the ya to ta, so it could be rotaba. Rotaba means like in tartib, the order of things. You can say la rutba fi.
Yeah, but my story is here that a student had no clue what he is writing, because the writing wasn't developed, and he wrote down then there is no, instead of there is no contradiction or no doubt in it, there is no olive oil in it in the Quran. You understand?
Yeah, exactly. That's cool. La raiba fihi. Yeah, it can be la zayta fihi. Yeah, now I understand what you mean. Yeah, la raiba fihi. What's that from? That's from
482.
482. Yeah, but it's also in many places. Alif lam mim. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Yeah, but this student make this I don't know if it's even an error. Maybe you wrote down the right thing. Because it's true, there is no olive oil in the Quran.
What is that from? هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بال. What is that from? Could you say what number it was from?
482. Surah 4, verse 82.
I think it's in more places, but okay, we take 42.
Wow, I have the very, very same photo of the page that Abu is showing at the moment, which I took in the Islamic Museum. Exactly this. Amazing how you find these things in different places after a while.
Annoying that it takes a long time to load this Qur'an.com. 482, was it that?
It is Friday, of course it takes long. All Muslims are reading now.
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن لا. No. What was it? 489 was or 42? What did you say?
482.
No. You're saying the wrong. It's
No,
not 482.
I'm saying the right one. أفلا يتدبرون
أفلا
القرآن ولا
يتدبر.
كان من عند يلي لا يهو
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. There is no لا ريب فيه.
I'm speaking Arabic, that's a classic.
This لا ريب فيه. I find it, dude.
It is this one.
No, it's not.
I'm sure of
لا ريب فيه in this one. What are you saying?
Of course you don't know, can read it on Qur'an.com because Qur'an.com is new. Of course.
Okay. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. It's the first. It's Surah Al-Baqarah, dude. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. Yeah, but I'm stupid. Yeah, so it's the third surah after Fatiha. Alif Lam Mim. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. So that is the book. That is ذلك. That is Al-Kitab, the book. لا ريب
there is
فيه.
no olive
No
oil.
doubt in it.
No.
هدى للمتقين. There is.
Doubt is wrong. I'm sure of it. Doubt is wrong. I'm pretty sure he meaned olive oil.
Yeah, there is no zayt.
Because it makes sense. There is no olive
ألف
oil. You can't find any olive oil
لام
in the Quran.
ذلك الكتاب لا زيت فيه هدى للمتقين. Which means Alif Lam Mim. There is that is the book. There is no olive oil in it. There is guidance for those who fear God. That was a funny joke.
There is guidance for the chef, for the cook, for the maid.
Yeah, makes sense. Now everything makes sense. Now everybody can be Muslim without any doubts at all.
There's guidance for the kitchen, for the pan. This is a book which maketh clean.
And cook it on 120 degrees Celsius.
But lay down not your sausage, your bacon, your chops, for these are forbidden to you by Allah. Lay down only the fish, the goat, the sheep, the lamb.
But you learned something new, Abu, so I'm pretty happy with today.
ذلك الكتاب لا زيت فيه. We can see here yeah, but you can see there's without the points you can make it into many things. But the thing is as you saw in the Qur'an manuscripts, it's not, or the Sana'a, it's not just that they even changed the word completely. So, or they remove some words and things like that. So I mean, this whole thing that the Quran is magically preserved. I mean, I'm sure you can find some text that is way better preserved and even older.
Why does that matter?
Because God says, "Inna nazalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun." So we have sent down the dhikr. That's okay. I can explain. Here's a good.
But you do realize the idea of a book being the same as it used to be is not impressive whatsoever.
No, that's not the point. The point is it's a differentiation with the Jews and the Christians where the book was corrupted. So they are learning something that is wrong right from the word go, whereas the Quran has been preserved and protected. It has been orally transmitted with perfection all the way until today. It has never been changed, and this is why it is the true word of God and not like the Bible and the Injil, the Gospels.
Never got any
also
proof.
it's also that it's a kind of claim. They make a truth claim about. Why doesn't it show? I always wanted to show. The show now. Now it shows. Okay. So this is from Islamic Center for Research and Academics, IQRA. Quran preservation efforts during the Prophet's lifetime. One very important question that is raised when it comes to the Noble Quran is how well was it preserved? This is not just important to the enemies of Islam who seek to disprove it, its beautiful message, but this is very significant to Muslims as well. If Islam is your religion, then you should want to know how your divine message was maintained throughout the years, because you want to know if what you are reading is actually the word of Allah, your Lord. Moreover, there are some claims that the Quran was compiled many years after the life of the Prophet, but this is a misconception that will be clear to show that not only was it compiled during the lifetime of the Prophet, but it was done with his supervision. This article will cover some of the concerns, blah, 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 blah. Introduction. Some have spoken against the Quran, and there did create confusion about its impeccable preservation. Impeccable preservation. Here we'll briefly study the Quran, blah, 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 blah. Memorization, primary means of the Quran's preservation. One thing that ought to be kept in mind regarding the preservation of the Quran is that it was done more through memory than through writing. This is like very convenient, because when you make it through, if you just claim that the oral tradition is correct, there's no way you can test it, because we don't have any tape recordings from them.
I'd like to test that hadith.
It's not a hadith, it's just a claim.
Therefore, we read in Sahih Muslim that Allah Almighty said to the Blessed Prophet, I have revealed to you a book that cannot be washed away with water.
Yeah, وَأَنزَلْتُ عَلَيْكَ كِتَابًا لَا يُغْسَلُ. Yeah, it cannot be washed away. How ironic it would be if the older part of the Sana'a manuscript was washed away with water.
All I need is a Qur'an and a bucket.
Yeah, sometimes destroy manuscript. Okay, but they mean that it's preserved through oral tradition. But if it's preserved through oral tradition, how come that you have differences in the Sana'a manuscript? Sounds kind of weird. This meant that the Quran will not be preserved only in the scrolls.
That's the wrong question, Abu. You should question why would they write anyway down if it's meant to be oral in the first place?
Oh, that's another good question.
I mean,
pretty much every society that had an oral tradition began writing those traditions down when writing became a thing.
Yeah, that's logical. But I mean, if the claim is there are no oral tradition and it was meant to be only oral, why we have so many who have point their fingers to the writings and saying in books. I mean, it makes no sense. either the one or the other. I mean,
I think this is ironic. They are mentioning your ayah here. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه.
my other argument.
So are you trying to say there's something in Islam which says the Quran should never have been put to paper, that it should only have been oral?
No.
Well, that was the claim at the beginning. I mean, what was the story? Why they have written down, so that people don't forget it. I mean, either you claim it is from God brought into hearts, and meaning the writings aren't necessary at all, aren't important, even somehow in a mysterious way forbidden, or you just leave it like it is. Because I mean, how you can claim, oh, our people are dying off and we haven't told everybody orally, so let's be sure that God's words don't get forgotten, and we now wrote down this whole thing. I mean, it just doesn't make for me sense at all. Neither the one way nor the other way as well.
Yeah, but hang on, what is your expectation? Do you expect this to make sense?
No, I mean, for me,
What
that
are you-
makes sense. The thing is, the claims they are making, it's like a cherry picking, like always, and that annoys me every time.
Absolutely. That's why nothing makes sense. There is nothing. That's why I always say there is nothing that is true that is comparable to reality in the Quran. And that's it.
Okay, guys. Now, if we stop, we don't accept the Muslim narrative.
No.
How would you explain, like, where does the Quran come from, and what is it?
No. By saying I don't accept the claims, I'm not making a counterclaim. I'm not saying I therefore declare that this arrived in the 8th century. I only have a thesis, a hypothesis. Okay.
Yeah. But that's hypothesis. I want to know. If you're allowed to speculate, what do you? What's your speculation on what?
Okay, looking at the facts, looking at what the contents is, looking at what there is, for me it is so absolutely, totally clear that this was a document that was based on Judaism, on the Torah, with elements of Christianity in it, and the overarching goal was to create fighters for Allah, where they didn't want drunk womanizers. And they said, you're not allowed to drink, you're not allowed to womanize, you're not allowed to do that. But then once you get married, you can settle down and then you will get your reward, not here today in the lifetime, but eventually when you're dead. And they are using elements of threats contained in the Gospels and in the Torah that you can already see in Judaism. And they wanted to provide their own people, the Arabs in the Arabian Peninsula, with an Arabic version of Judaism. So the whole thing was created somewhere in between, I don't know, Petra and Damascus or something. And this is where the people sat down, and this is why they said, well, we need a city which is far away, which nobody has heard of, and this we will make the center of the story of Muhammad, and we will use Mecca, just like they did in Jesus. Nazareth didn't exist at the time, but when it was written, they also used an obscure little town somewhere. The same thing happened with Mecca. So they wrote everything in the north and said, okay, we're taking the environment that we have here. We're trying to get the people to be afraid of this God so that they will do what we want. And this is why they then wrote down the Quran, and they wrote down all the supporting stories. And this is my hypothesis.
Well, just to make one correction, when you said that they took elements of threats from the Gospels, it's very obvious to me that they actually took threats from priests. If you actually read the punishments, now, I mean, what the Gospels actually says about hell is it says that, you'll be condemned to the fires of Gehenna, which was a rubbish pit in Jerusalem. This whole idea about mass torture and all shit like that was something that was like more and more elaborate ideas about this Gehenna was created by church fathers. And if you actually go to, particularly around the Middle Eastern area, a number of churches, you'll actually find pictures in those churches that pretty much describe the Quran. I mean, go online, find. I mean, I was looking at this picture of a church in, I believe it was Syria, and it predates Islam. And there was this picture of hell. It was the perfect description of Quranic hell. It even had the hooked rods of iron.
They just took existing stories, fairy tales. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. It even had the hooked rods of iron.
Wow.
It describes the Quranic hell perfectly. And I think particularly,
Raven, you need to say, but you need to say it describes a version of the hell which was then picked up by the Quran.
But that is not that problematic, because they claim that they come from the same God and it's the same tradition. More problematic is things like Dhul Qarnayn, the story of Dhul Qarnayn, that seemed to be some kind of stolen.
No. They wanted to be smart asses. This is why they insert Galen. This is why they insert all these little stories, just to be a little bit more modern than the Christians. Because remember, they were in competition. And they wanted to tell the Christians, no, listen, you guys, you are wrong. You had all the Nestorians, you had the Copts, you had all these people, the Christian, the different, the Jesuitas, whatever they were called in those days. They were in competition with them. So they had to be one up, one better than those people. This is why you have all these little tidbits in there, like embryology, which is completely wrong. But they thought they were being modern by copying Galen into their book.
Yeah,
it's also interesting what parts of Christianity the Quran copied versus what parts it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, if you think of the part of Islam which says that Jesus spoke as a newborn in a crib, that was actually something that was taught in Middle Eastern Christianity. But I believe in the Western world that had been decided it was non-canonical. And so it was.
Don't you find this in the Apocrypha?
Pardon?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Are these stories? I mean, what you find in the Jewish Apocrypha is, for example, the story of the Pharaoh. So Pharaoh, the way that he gets saved, and he goes to Nineveh and meets up with the guy from the fish. What was his name? Jonas. And he meets him up, and both of them then convert the people in Nineveh. This story you find in the Apocrypha of the Jews, which then gets adopted in, because it's a story, it gets adopted into the Quran.
I think most of this side legends, let me call that side legends, you found I think in the Barnabas Bible. It is called.
For example, exactly. Yeah.
Because I think that was early last year. I think it was that the Turkish claim that they have the oldest Bible, Barnabas Bible, in their custody, etc. And it confirms the Quran. So because there you can read very clearly that Jesus didn't die and he wasn't crucified. So this confirms the Quran because it's written here too, and it's a Bible. So why not?
The thing is, though, it doesn't actually confirm the Quran. I mean, the Quran goes sort of out of its way to sort of explain the Bible by saying, you know, Allah just switched him with a doppelganger and then tricked him into thinking that had happened. Yeah, so if you actually get a Bible which says that that's not what happened, then if the Turkish claim were true, and I doubt it is, that would actually falsify the Quran.
Yeah, but you can see in the Bible that Simon took the cross from Jesus. And this is the story that they then spin, and they say, well, then people thought that it was Simon who was supposed to be crucified, so they crucified Simon and not Jesus. Jesus walked home. And he left the guy to be crucified instead of him because he was an asshole.
It's a lovely religion, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Eh? Okay, Muslims, please hear. I am talking about Jesus of the Christians. I'm criticizing the Jesus of the Christian. So I'm not only going on about Islam all the time. I don't care. If it's not true, it's not true. I don't care if it's Jesus or Moses or I don't know who the fuck. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going on about old texts. Muslim been translated. So we found out that there are millions of old texts, none of which can be used as evidence for anything. And some of them repeat old stories and some of them don't. So it doesn't matter where they come from. We have texts as early as the 6th century with motives, with sequences which you later find in the Quran. So the Quran predates Muhammad.
Well, that's supposed to be a thing, isn't it? Anyway, like the Quran is eternal and uncreated.
Hang on, both of you were talking at the same time, so I couldn't understand.
You said that there was some 6th century. What was that?
From in the Sana documents, you have documents, manuscripts, you have fragments again, which are dated to the 6th century.
Ah, well, yeah, that could be. Muhammad lived in the late 6th century, so
yeah, but he received this in the early 7th.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure that to a Muslim that'd even be a problem, because Allah gave, what was it? Was it supposed to be? I think it was
no.
124,000 prophets.
You can't have that.
Grant.
You can't have that. You must have Muhammad. Muhammad is the sole source of the Quran.
Oh yeah, but you could have earlier prophets that revealed certain truths that Muhammad later revealed in full, because the Quran itself is supposed to be eternal and uncreated. So the Quran theologically existed before the earth.
There were two of them. Abu Maimun, I think, was one, or something like that, and the other I don't remember at all. They claim it also sent by
exactly.
by God, and later, as Muhammad gained more followers than they, he ridiculed them, and I think one of them had to die at least.
I'm sort of picturing it as an old-fashioned computer game. Like, the further Muhammad goes, like, the more chapters are revealed. Like, you have unlocked Surah of a Cow.
There you go. Exactly. It's an achievement. So you won the medal, and now you've achieved the next level, which is now
well, it was like
15.
That.
Yeah, it's exactly how it works. Yeah.
You can read this in the Hadiths, how the story of many Quran verses go. He was confronted with a situation, and then all of a sudden Allah talks to him overnight or something like that, and then the Hadiths tell about it, and then the Allah revealed this and this verse. I mean, you have so much Hadith that talks about, and then Allah revealed it. I mean, how could that be a prophecy at all if then Allah revealed something?
The thing is, ask a Muslim, ask a scholar. I've done this, and they can't answer this, so I'm gloating. Ask a Muslim to explain the sequence of events. If they say that there are some sentences which were revealed during the Meccan period, some in Medina, so there is some chronology, but it was a wild mishmash of sentences from different parts of the Quran, who at the end of the day compiled them, who at the end of the day decided to use this structure, that there is no structure, and that it sort of resembles a couple of longer ones in the beginning, a couple of shorter ones towards the end, not the end. I mean, the last one is not the shortest, and the first one is not the longest. So who did all that? Who compiled the Quran?
I just really want to say Caliph Uthman did it.
No, they don't. A Muslim will not agree.
Well, you could say he compiled that, okay, but on which basis, you have to ask, on which basis he decided to do this sorting, or which one comes
with what result? How come today we have different versions of the Quran with different numbering schemes?
Because some of them escaped Uthman's burning.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but you have different numbers for different things, and who compiled it in that order? If Muhammad received them, like in a jumbled form, why were they not written down in the jumbled form that they were revealed in? Why make this huge distinction and write them down in the form that they did? Why do you have in inheritance, the topic of inheritance in 411 and 412, and then suddenly after the end in 4167? Who does that? Who makes such a mess?
Well, I'm not even sure that'd be really a problem for Muslims. They're just sort of used to the idea that the Quran isn't in chronological order anyway.
No,
I mean, a better question.
No, just ask who did it.
Like, I think a better question for me is, why do you read something like, and if you fear for the orphans, marry the women? It's like, why does it seem like there's a few sentences missing?
Yeah, exactly. So things like that. I mean, if you ask a Muslim, okay, please explain that. They can't. They are totally helpless. Only Allah knows. Come on, the first sentence in the Quran, ALM. How the hell can a God give you an instruction manual where the first thing he says is gibberish? ALM. Nobody knows, Allah knows best. Okay, what's the point?
No, that ALM means Allah loves MILFs.
Must be. I love MILFs, absolutely.
That's just a shorten. I mean, he prophesied, and today now we know what it means.
Yeah. And of course, the H&M, we also know what that means in 41.1. Yeah. Come on, it doesn't make sense. So if we look at the old texts, none of them resemble what we see today. None of them explain what we see today. None of them has any kind of indication who, when, where, why. We get nothing. And the point is of looking at all these old texts is just to confirm that we are being stopped from investigating this by Muslims. Muslims do not want anybody to look at the old texts. We're not allowed to identify them. We're not allowed to scrutinize them. We're not allowed to test them. Nothing.
But why do we have to go so much back in time? I mean, you can much easier ask why we do have a 1924 Quran canonization standard. Who exactly made the decision to the standards?
Exactly.
The Egyptians ones, or the Saudis, or the Ahmadiyyas, or the Sufis in particular, or the Alawites, or maybe the Shias in general? Why is there a time in the last century that isn't very far away? Why is there a time which was canonized again? Why do you need something again?
Trust in Allah. Don't focus on things that don't concern you.
5101. Do not ask questions if answered would cause you
That was
pain.
the reason why I thought it was a good idea, and I still think it is a good idea. In the German show which I had, did with a Quran which was pre-dated this 1924 Quran thing, and there you can see the two numbering, at least two numbering of the verses, how they would be divided in a longer verse or something like that.
No, okay. Let me translate that. The way that you see this, the description of older Quran versions has multiple numbering formats because the Quran was not always numbered in the same way. So if you have a description of somebody from the 18th century who goes and describes the Quran, he has different versions of the Quran and has to cater for the different versions.
Yeah.
Oh, is Abu gone again? He's gone to research something. Okay.
Abu, tell us how was your confrontation with, especially this numberization thing? I mean, you must have come across this
when I was a Muslim.
problem. Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember if there was numberization thing. I mean, I'm not sure I had that many problems with that. I just thought that the Sahaba knew what order it should be in, and we just trust the Sahaba.
But why you don't question?
Yeah, but you had different versions.
You don't question anything. That's.
Yeah, but you had different versions, didn't you? Didn't you find a Quran with a different numbering system?
No, there are different qira'ats, but.
No, but if I go to a stand today, I mean, this happened the other day. I went to a Quran stand or an Islam stand. they had different books, different Qurans. And when I wanted to show him an error, I noticed that it was the wrong or a different, let's say, different numbering scheme. Where I said, no, I know it's 5101, but here it's 5100. So it's different. It's just, no, there are no differences in the Quran. I said, well, this one is different. Here it's 5101 and here's 5100. What do you mean?
Yeah, the numbering scheme, yeah. Maybe that is part of the qira'at. I don't remember exactly. The different qira'at have different numbering scheme.
So you never questioned it?
No, I only memorized from one. I was only hafid one qira'ah. So no, I don't remember question.
Abu, I have a quick question for you about your days, about your time as an exorcist.
Yes.
Did you ever see Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters.
The movie.
Yeah.
I have a vague memory.
Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I have a vague memory.
Did you see it for the first time before or after your first exorcism?
I don't know. I maybe I saw some bad movie when I was a kid. I have no memory from it. So
I thought it was a brilliant movie. Who doesn't love Slimer?
yeah, I don't remember, but I think I saw Ghostbusters.
I have a different question, somehow different, Abu. Was there any time in your Muslim life you thought you were possessed by the devil, by shaitan?
Possessed? What do you mean, like? Well, what do you mean?
Like
You always go around
crap.
all the time and.
Like you stepped with the wrong foot in the bathroom first, and you thought, oh my God.
Yeah, all the time. Like when you make wudu, for example, you think like, did I do it 3 times, or maybe I did it too much? And you say, "Oh, the blame shaitan." You do that all the time. But I would say that is actually not. I think there are psychological benefits to that. I mean,
I'm not sure about that. No,
I mean,
you can.
This is why a lot of women join. Absolutely. Because of this rigorous routine, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that. It's like it's the same kind of like immediately when you start to, people that suffer. I'm not suffering from that myself, but there are people that suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder, for example.
OCD.
So if you can tell yourself that your OCD was from the shaitan, you can immediately say, then it may be a way to overcome your OCD. On the other hand, it creates a lot of OCD also because you have to wash yourself. What's it called? Robert Sapolsky at Stanford University has this idea that the wudu and ritual things in religion comes from people with obsessive compulsive disorder, and this obsession doing it like 3 times and all these things. But they like seeking refuge from the shaitan. Also, when you had doubts, like when you had a doubt about
when you have olive oil, you mean?
What?
When you have olive oil, you mean?
No,
yeah,
it's contradiction and olive oil, not doubt.
Yeah. If you had the thought la zayta fi, if I had that thought, I remember that I had, but then you can say "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim" directly, and then you.
I think with having olive oil, I think like to me, what would be more scary would be the idea that Popeye had come calling, and it's like Popeye just gives you the stink eye. You see him pull out a can of spinach, and you're like, "Well, that's it. I'm gonna die." Because the spinach gives him superhuman strength.
Spinach.
Am I the only person here that's ever seen Popeye?
Yeah. It's some. What's it called in
Popeye.
Popeye.
Popeye and his woman olive oil.
Yeah. I know that guy.
And he eats spinach and turns into the Hulk.
Yeah, now we're getting into cartoon things. Yeah, I think I'm not that familiar with cartoons or Ghostbusters and things.
You used to be a Muslim. You're very familiar.
With cartoons? No, it's not.
No, it's a different culture. It's a different group. where Olivia is not that like in Iran, you will not find any of these references. They're completely lost. Like if I have some jokes, I cannot use them because they will be typical South African jokes. So if I use them in France or somewhere else, they will completely, they will be lost because people don't have the same. Like if I will tell people it's not inside, it's on top, nobody will understand that. But if you're a South African, you will understand immediately if I say it's on top, because you will remember this from your culture as a South African, and then it has meaning.
What is the particular South African cultural trait that relates to it's on top?
Well, this was a heavily placed ad where you have this milk powder, which you don't put in the fridge, but it stands on top of the fridge. So it's not inside, it's on top. So if you're looking for the milk powder for your tea, you look on top of the fridge and not inside the fridge like you would with a normal milk.
Still,
so how has it become a phrase? Like if you were going to say it to someone as a joke or something, like what would it mean?
Well, if it's not where you would expect it, you will automatically say it's on top, because you will automatically know that it's not where you would expect it to be, because the milk you expect in the fridge, whereas no, it's not inside, it's on top.
I think that the boy is possessed by a jinn.
Yeah.
Still, Abu hasn't really answered my question. Did you ever had this thought really of possession, meaning the devil was in you? Yeah.
No, I didn't think that, but I took precautions.
What did you write? Surah? What was it? Something or other on your shirt?
The last 3 surahs and all this kind of thing. So I took precautions, but I had some friends that was extremely paranoid about this. So like,
you didn't have any talisman around your neck.
Talisman is shirk. You cannot have talisman.
No. This is what I just explained. If you write a specific sentence from the Quran onto your shirt, it will protect you from any possession.
No, that's bid'ah. That's bid'ah.
No,
that's not bid'ah. It's something that you write on there and it protects you.
If it's not bid'ah, show me the hadith that says you can do it.
It is not bid'ah because it protects you from the, what was it, the evil of the black eye. And I think
no, but if you read like that, what you should do is that you should just read, for example, the 3 last surahs, and you should have wudu all the time before you go to sleep. You should fall to sleep with wudu. All kinds of stuff you can do.
Like, couldn't you make the argument that like Islam forbids alcohol is bid'ah? Because the Quran doesn't say alcohol; it says wine. So when you say alcohol, it's like
no, because there's hadith.
Well, so you're saying Allah made a mistake when he said wine. He meant alcohol. Like,
yes, the Quran neither says wine nor does it say prohibited.
But there's a hadith that says kullu mukhadaratin haram. I think it is. Maybe I'm using the wrong word.
Stop. Did you just say the Quran doesn't prohibit wine?
Yes, that's what I said, because it doesn't.
Well, what does it say then? Because I remember reading it and it's saying no wine.
No.
You say
use the word khamr, and khamr just means it's something that covers. In other words, something that covers your brain. So you need to interpret covering your brain as something that will distort your brain, which means that alcohol can distort your brain, which means that it could be wine that is doing that, and then you get from khamr to wine. And
I have a little bit problem with this because I think...
And it doesn't use haram, it just says avoid, not haram. It's not prohibited or anything, it just means whatever covers your brain, you should avoid, because it is the word, and avoid what the devil does to you. That's all it says in the Quran.
But this thing that wasn't...
Just going on to just keeping with this topic about wine, and I was thinking earlier about when Abu was reading out that thing and it said enemies of Islam. A while ago was I think it was this woman, and she actually showed me her blog, and she had on her blog what she claimed was it was an actual, like, she took a picture of an actual, well, she took a screenshot of an actual, I don't know if it was part of the Quran or if it was an official hadith in the Saudi Arabian Museum. And it claimed on this blog that that Muhammad had went to someone's house and accepted a cup of wine. And I remember years later, I think it was on Council of Ex-Muslims, someone had actually come on asking the question, oh, I've heard that Muhammad like accepted wine from a jinn or something like that, but I don't know if this is true or if it's like enemies of Islam. And I just made the point, even if it is true, how exactly does that affect Islam in any way whatsoever? You know, I mean, is like even within Islam, there was a time when wine was fine, and Muhammad probably did at some point drink wine before he had his revelation. How exactly does this change Islam anyway? And even if it did, the only thing that would mean it still says in the Quran, you know, don't drink if you're gonna pray, things like that. Well, what will it actually change except Muslims maybe have a beer after work?
No, it would change. Drinking alcohol is a major sin. I want to see that hadith if that really is an hadith. I'm very skeptical.
I don't know, but like I said, I saw the blog where someone had actually took a screenshot of this, and I actually checked the link on the screenshot. Yeah, it actually takes you to the Saudi museum, so that was all right and proper. And they're like, here's the screenshot, here it is, and
okay. If
I mean,
that
for all I know,
exists,
it was true, but I can't read Arabic, so it was only
Raven. Can you bring that photo to the next week and we can look at it?
I actually can't know. I remember after this person asked first mentioned
make some research and try, because
I spent about an
throw
hour
out things like that. It's impossible to verify or anything. Try to find it to next week. Okay, you know, it's starting to get a bit late here. It's starting to get a bit late here. Maybe you should make the hadith of the week.
Okay, can you just look at the link I just posted there?
Okay.
You want to put this into the description box, because this is all about Islam and Islamic voodoo and talisman, and so this sort of covers everything, which one you should wear for what, and what is prohibited, what is not. Women are not allowed to, men are, and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, I put this in the description box, and if I have time, I can look into it and so on.
I had a quick question I wanted to ask. When it comes to going into the bathroom, I do think I remember something about you go to the toilet and there's like invisible jinns around you, and there's a particular spell you can say which banishes them. And
you shouldn't say it inside the toilet. You should say it before you go into the toilet.
Well, I don't know. I just heard something about. I remember reading this. I was reading a blog of this Muslim woman, and I was cracking up because she mentioned like going to the bathroom, and she's like, oh, and there's something just very writing it like it was the most normal thing in the world. Oh, I had to go to the bathroom, so I went into the bathroom and I said the spell to banish the jinns so I could have some privacy. I'm just cracking up.
Yeah, but that's just thinking, like, like Muslims really believe in jinn and things like that. There are some weird stories, people that like they take a shower, they're not taking a shower completely naked because they think like, oh, maybe there's a jinn in here and he will look at my private parts, and this is like people that study at fine universities. I don't know. Anyway,
maybe it becomes jealous.
We can talk more about jinn next week. Maybe.
Abu, let me. Can I bring up the hadith? I have found one.
Okay, fine.
But before that, I've just watched this week a reporting from Saudi Arabia, because the German team were looking how Saudi Arabia is becoming much different now today, etc. And the funny thing is they talked to the woman, and one woman said, well, I was 1 year in London to educate myself, and the people are very different, and they are very, very, I mean, here in Saudi Arabia, if I carry a heavy bag, they are all men will asking me to help me, etc. So there is much cultural difference. And in London, I even had to bring the garbage down myself. That was horrible. I mean, can you imagine bringing the garbage yourself down? I mean, that's such an issue, such a cultural difference to take your own garbage down to the street.
No white knight.
No white knight at all.
However, I mean,
People actually looking at you as a human being that can take your own bin in and out.
I mean, yes, to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are good things about Saudi Arabia too. I'm not like, there are many things that, I mean.
Yeah, but that was her only really complaint to say something like that, to make Saudi Arabia look good, that people supposedly would all men would ask her to carry heavy bags. I'm not so sure about that. If that's you as a woman.
No, but I mean, for the first, I'm not saying sure that that's the right thing to do Islamically always, because it depends on the situation. Are you alone with that woman, or so many things? But yeah, but like, look, I would like, there are many things. Not everything is bad. I mean, Saudi people can have good adab and good akhlaq, good character, and be nice and very civilized and generous and things like that. So this is not only bad.
There's good things about Saudi Arabia. Name both of them.
Okay, let me go to the hadith. Can you read it at least? I will read it anyway. So, narrated by Anas. Oh, wait. Whenever Allah's messenger went to answer the call of nature, I, along with other boy from us, used to go behind him with a tumbler full of water. And that brings you way much further in life today.
What? Went away to the call of.
When I went for a shit, he had someone follow him with a little sprinkler, and he'd just pour the jug of water between Allah's ass crack.
There's another one, more or less the same. Whenever Allah's messenger went to answer the call of nature, I, along with another boy, used to carry a tumbler full of water for cleaning the private parts and a short spear or stick.
I wonder what.
For what is the stick for?
We're not going to make any jokes about that.
The stick is for getting rid of bits of leftover shit, and the water is for
No, we're not going there. We're not going there.
Wait,
no homoerotic jokes about that.
Bye, guys. Have fun.
No, it's hadith, because this is about the topic. He didn't read an hadith that is about the topic. We're talking about manuscripts in the Qur'an. Abdullah ibn Abbas reported that Umar ibn al-Khattab sat on the pulpit of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Verily, Allah sent Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam with truth, and He sent down the book upon him, and the verse of stoning was included in what was sent down to him. We recited it, retained it in our memory, and understood it. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam awarded the punishment of stoning to death to the married adulterer and adulteress, and after him He also awarded the punishment of stoning. I am afraid that with the lapse of time the people may forget it and may say, we do not find the punishment of stoning in the book of Allah, and thus go astray by abandoning this duty prescribed by Allah. Stoning is a duty laid down in Allah's book for married men and women who commit adultery when proof is established, or there is pregnancy or a confession. It's a clear hadith in Sahih that
there is pregnancy.
But this is exactly where my hypothesis comes from. So things like these show me very, very clearly that they forgot something which they added later on in the form of hadith. And this happens a lot because they had to wait 100 years before they realized they'd forgotten things which they then repaired later on. So that's It's very clear to me.
But it's like even to the I mean, this statement, "Inna nazalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun," I don't understand how they make sense of this.
You also changed it though. You said that he also awarded the punishment of stoning, whereas what it actually says is, after him, we also awarded. So it's we, not he.
But the point is, there was a verse in the Quran about stoning, but then it's
Allegedly.
yeah, and then it disappeared.
So this is how you modify this, exactly. Okay, let's not talk. Let's talk about this next time.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know where it'll be next time, but whatever.
Next time, Rob will come back.
Yeah, he's in Amsterdam having a good time. Has anybody ever gone window shopping in Amsterdam?
I've never been to Amsterdam.
So you don't know the expression window shopping?
I know window shopping, but I've never been to Amsterdam.
But you don't know the Amsterdam window shopping?
Well, I'm assuming it's like...
No, in Amsterdam, the girls sit in the windows and you can choose them.
That's why I said titties.
Yeah.
This you should import to Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Do you know how many Ukrainian girls they've imported into Saudi Arabia? Come on. There's thousands that are running around there.
Saudi Arabia has imported a load of Ukrainian girls.
Yes.
Please go on.
As hostesses.
Okay.
Hostesses being...
Well, they show people around. They help you when you need to understand something, and they explain these things to you. They explain things of technical nature, and then they have other more personal usages as well. Come on. I mean,
So if he's like Arabic-speaking Ukrainian?
No. The less they speak, the better. Come on.
Yeah, that's the message we should take from this show. The less they speak, the better.
But
Yeah.
I tell you, if I could tell you the stories that have happened, because I was working for the government, okay, so the things that I have seen and the things that happen, I mean, you would be so disgusted.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah,
me,
maybe you can talk about those stories sometimes.
No.
To me, it looks like Abu is very uncomfortable with sex and burping and talking like that at all. He's still in some way.
I'm trying to keep this show on some. You want us to become
Some
banned
level.
You want us to become banned from YouTube and things like that.
I
We're
don't care
fine.
about the channel.
You can start to show porn. It's okay.
Excuse me, Abu. Gin&Tonic show was banned for absolutely fuck all.
It's kind of funny.
banned for blasphemy.
It's kind of funny. Sargon of Akkad was banned from Twitter because he retweeted, I think, some gay pornography or something absurdly. So it was not because anything he said, or not like his controversial opinions or anything. Anyway, but I think we can continue this discussion about sex and everything.
What do we do next week? Should we talk about sex next week?
I was actually thinking about saying something about quantum mechanics, but...
Quantum mechanics and the Quran. Okay.
Quantum mechanics and sex.
Oh.
There is actually...
I'm a little curious. Was it just Sargon of Akkad? Like, what about the person who originally did the tweet? Was he banned as well?
I don't think so. Anyway.
So dancing Taliban says goodbye, everyone. That was
bye, dancing Taliban. See you next week. Ciao, guys.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.